all, it is really an honor to open this bakery here today. And I say an honor, and why do I say that? Because that is to the benefit of the taxpayers of the people of South Africa. This bakery, you will see if we go in now, can produce 3,840 loaves of bread daily. The rate is about 480 loaves of bread an hour. We have almost 50 inmates involved in the bakery, meaning they get a pre-training and then they also rotate on certain ways to ensure that they also are practically part of the process. Now that's very important. And the importance of that is it's part of rehabilitation to ensure that when the inmates are going out of our facilities, that they can successfully reintegrate into society. When they finish here, they will receive a certificate to say that, and this is part of their skills they have learned in correctional services. So it's a dual, can I say, benefit for the inmates on the one side and the taxpayers on the other side. We will save more or less 3 million rand.
Minister Pieter Groenewald, a name often associated with politics and leadership in South Africa, has taken an unexpected step that has left both supporters and critics talking. In a move filled with symbolism and controversy, Groenewald has opened a bakery for prisoners, a project that may look simple on the surface, but carries deep meaning for justice, rehabilitation, and the future of South African communities. For those unfamiliar with the political and social context, South Africa's prison system has long been a subject of heated debate. Overcrowding, high reoffending rates, and strained resources have made it difficult for correctional facilities to achieve their intended goal, rehabilitation. Critics argue that prison is too often a revolving door, where people leave more broken than when they entered. It is in this climate that Minister Pieter Groenewald introduced a bakery inside prison walls, sparking hope for some and skepticism in others. The bakery, at first glance, might appear to be just about bread. But for prisoners, it represents something more profound: the possibility of dignity, the power of skill, and the chance to rebuild a life. By creating an environment where inmates can work, learn, and create, Groenewald has placed rehabilitation above punishment. The bakery provides not only food but also training, employment opportunities, and a sense of purpose that many inmates have never known. When asked about the idea, Groenewald explained that his motivation was rooted in long-term solutions. Crime in South Africa has shaken communities for decades, leaving families fractured and trust in law enforcement weakened. He recognized that simply locking people away without equipping them to return to society only deepens the cycle of crime. To break that cycle, rehabilitation had to move beyond words and into action. Inside the bakery, prisoners are trained to bake bread, pastries, and other goods. The skills they learn are practical, marketable, and essential. Bread is a staple in every community, and knowing how to produce it gives former inmates a real chance at employment once they return home. For many, this could mean the difference between reoffending and rebuilding. This initiative also shifts how society views prisoners. Too often, inmates are written off as lost causes, people defined forever by their mistakes. But Groenewald's bakery forces us to ask, should justice be about punishment alone, or should it also be about giving people the tools to change? The public's reaction has been mixed. On one hand, many South Africans praised the project, calling it a brilliant step forward in tackling reoffending. Social media was flooded with comments celebrating the idea of rehabilitation and applauding the chance for prisoners to contribute meaningfully. On the other hand, some critics questioned the decision. They argued that with poverty and unemployment already high in South Africa, giving prisoners opportunities before ordinary citizens might feel unfair. But Groenewald has remained steadfast. He insists that the bakery is not a luxury, but a necessity. If we want safer communities, he said, We must stop producing hardened criminals. Rehabilitation is not a kindness, it is a solution. His words have sparked conversations across the nation about what true justice really means. For the prisoners themselves, the bakery has been life-changing. Some have spoken openly about how the program has given them hope for the first time in years. Instead of idleness and despair, their days are now filled with routine, learning, and the pride of creating something useful. One inmate described it as a chance to be human again. This is where the story deepens. Beyond the flour and ovens, this project represents a battle for identity. Inmates, often seen only as numbers, are now bakers, learners, and contributors. Their role in society begins to shift, and with it, the possibility of a safer nation becomes more real. The bakery also has ripple effects. Communities benefit from cheaper bread and baked goods, sometimes distributed to schools and local charities. Families of inmates begin to see their loved ones not as criminals, but as people capable of growth. And law enforcement agencies are given a model for how to reduce crime long-term. Still, the debate continues. Some fear this is too idealistic, questioning whether prisoners truly change. Others wonder if the resources spent here should go instead toward job creation for law-abiding citizens outside prison walls. These are valid concerns, but the question remains: if society does nothing to rehabilitate prisoners, what kind of people are released back into our communities? At the heart of this initiative lies a fundamental truth: prisons do not exist in isolation. What happens inside those walls directly affects what happens outside. If inmates are released unprepared, society pays the price. If they are released with skills and hope, communities gain new members ready to contribute. This bakery could be a turning point, not just for those prisoners, but for the way South Africa views justice. It asks us all to reconsider: is true justice about retribution, or is it about transformation? And now, a question for you, the viewer. If this bakery project was launched in your own community's prison, how would people respond? Would they see it as progress, or as misplaced generosity? Another question: did you expect a government minister like Pieter Groenewald to champion something so practical, yet so emotionally powerful? Does this change the way you see leadership in South Africa? The bakery story reminds us that every loaf of bread carries more than flour and yeast. It carries the weight of second chances. It represents an opportunity for prisoners to prove that they are more than their worst mistakes. For ordinary South Africans, this initiative could mark the beginning of safer streets and stronger families. If reoffending drops, if former inmates find work, and if crime decreases, then the bakery will not just be about bread. It will be about building a safer and more compassionate nation. The implications are huge. Imagine a South Africa where every prison houses programs like this, where instead of releasing angry, hopeless individuals, the system releases skilled workers ready to contribute to society. That vision could transform the future. Of course, change will not come overnight. It will take patience, funding, and strong leadership. But if successful, this project could become a model for nations beyond South Africa. Other countries struggling with crime might look to Groenewald's bakery as a symbol of what rehabilitation can achieve. This is why the story matters. It is not just about prisoners baking bread. It is about a nation deciding what kind of justice it wants and what kind of future it believes in. So, as this story unfolds, we are left with a final reflection. Justice is not about who deserves bread, but about who deserves a chance to rise again. If this story has moved you, take a moment to show your support. Like this video so more people can hear about Minister Pieter Groenewald's bold initiative. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you believe this bakery can truly change lives? And don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more powerful real-life stories that reveal both the challenges and the triumphs of people shaping our future. Because sometimes, a simple loaf of bread can tell the story of an entire nation's hope.